Up next, we're going to introduce Lux Narayan, a serial entrepreneur who we know for more than 10 years. Lux has been a veteran in this ecosystem and also pretty very familiar face in this ecosystem, I'll say. So he's building a second venture called StreamAlive, and happy to introduce Lux on the stage. And he's also a storyteller, a comedian, so we're going to experience all his trade secrets today. Thank you.
Thank you for the absolute lack of pressure and all that. Right. So apparently 8 of you are on WhatsApp, 3 on messaging, and 6 on email. If you don't mind pausing that for a second and just scanning this QR code. That is an absolute lie. That's not generative AI. I just made that up, obviously. Right. Can you scan this QR code? It should be, you can either scan it from here, zoom in. If you can't scan it, go to chat.streamalive.com and enter the number you see there. There are 2 monitors on the side as well. If your phone can't scan it and you can't read the numbers, it's time for a new phone and a visit to your optometrist. Right? So do me a favor, once you do that, you should be in a browser-based chat, and you should see a hello from me. Just reply back, hello. Yeah, I'm looking at my phone. Cool. NK, Vish, Arjun, whoa. You guys are awesome. Priya, Lilac, Waterbug. Okay, you can change the name, keep an anonymous name. If you're keeping an anonymous name, be nice, be kind. Thank you. Right. So this is going to be a conversation, less presentation, more conversation, and the more you participate, the better it is. My name is Lakshmanan Narayan, and when I went to college many decades ago, not too far away from here at IIT Madras, I was fortunate to get a nickname that didn't have a derogatory meaning or a body part and could be said in public. So most people know me as Lux. I'm a co-founder and the CEO at StreamAlive, and we help make live sessions alive, and hopefully I'll give you a glimpse of it in today's live session, because that's probably the best way to get you to experience StreamAlive. Right? If you can close that, please, Ashad. Awesome. Okay, question time. If you went to a library in the last month, and first we'll all clap for you, and then just type the number 1 in the chat. You get the gist. Gosh, you guys are awesome. In the last year, the number 2. In the last 5 years, number 3. You can only select 1 for very, very obvious reasons. If you change your mind, get the wrong one, just correct yourself, and it works automatically. Okay? Ages ago, don't remember, 1 of 3 of you, come on. The shy folks who've been spending time in the library, you got to get those numbers up. We got an erudite crowd over here. Never did? Whoa, okay, we need to talk. Ages ago, in the last 5 years, I think that's very, very telling, right? It's not really telling about the state of knowledge or something, but earlier, if you wanted to get knowledge, you'd go to a library, and I think a library is a great metaphor for knowledge in general. I mean, all those rows and aisles of books are essentially compilations of wisdom and knowledge from different generations, and you would predetermine the path you want to take through a library to get that knowledge inside. This picture, to me, is a great representation of what generative AI does. A library coming to life, dynamically creating content, and generating volumes in real time, individualized and for you. I wish I could tell you I created this picture. I didn't. And generative AI cannot solve clickers, but we'll get there. Cool. It was created by DALL-E. Folks, if it doesn't work, I'll just hit next, yeah? You can help me out there. It was created by DALL-E in response to a prompt where I said a library coming to life, dynamically reshuffling its content and presenting its volumes in real time. I wish I could take credit for that line as well, but actually that came from a prompt. Can you hit the back here? Thank you. That I asked ChatGPT saying, I'm going to be doing a talk on generative AI and I need an adequate analogy, and can you help me out? And it came up with that line that you see over there. I promise I did do parts of this presentation. Yeah. It's fascinating, right? I mean, you can get a metaphor for a talk that you're going to be giving. You can get a line that sounds good. You can get an image for that line. And, sometimes people ask, can ChatGPT do things like create an entire movie script? The next slide, please. You might have to just switch from the Windows Mac thing, but otherwise I'll just shout out, yeah? So can it write an entire boardroom drama, complete with script and actors and characters? And the answer to that is, yes, it can. And I think we've seen that in the last few weeks. Can you go to the next one, please? AI can write entire movie scripts. And if anyone wanted proof of that, everything that's happened in the last few weeks is exactly proof of that. Right? Oops. Okay, now it's working. I think I need to point it there. Jokes apart, I think these three numbers are very telling. It took 12 years for the internet to hit 50% of the US population. It took 6 years for mobile phones to do that same feat. And it is estimated that AI will take 3 years to accomplish exactly that same task, which is fantastic if you think of it. Right? We've moved from infrastructure as a service to software as a service to IQ as a service in so many different avatars. Okay, heads up, you've got to use your phone again very, very soon, so I'm going to be asking you some questions. There's no right answer to this next question, but again, don't split hairs over, okay, is it the name of the AI? All the AI bots, things you've encountered in the last few weeks, months, years, let's just get a brain dump. We've got some amazing brains over here. Whoa, whole bunch of names I've never heard of. OpenAI, I have heard of. ChatGPT, yes, you get the gist. I mean, it doesn't matter if someone has already put a name, put the same name if that's something you're familiar with. I'm just trying to see which ones dominate the public consciousness. And no surprises so far. We're seeing OpenAI. We're seeing OpenAI, a lot of it. We're seeing ChatGPT with a space and without a space. We're seeing DALL-E, Fireflies, Midjourney, a lot of image creation software out there. DALL-E, Midjourney, Bard. Super. Keep it coming, folks. Notion, Llama. It's beautiful. I mean, these are names we didn't even know more than a year ago. And here we are, giving a brain dump of so many names that have just entered our life and already become so familiar. Right? But if you were to split these, and just take a look at it before I move to the next slide, you've got OpenAI and Bard and ChatGPT and Llama and all of these occupying the lion's share of the collective consciousness. And these are what you would call AI models. Right? These are the ones we're most familiar with. These are the ones that are attracting 60% of investment dollars and probably 75% of eyeballs. You got the AI cloud, which makes everything work and run, and that's attracting about 13% of investment, which is like Lambda and Databricks. And you got pure AI apps that were not imaginable before that are attracting roughly 17% of investment. So 60, 17, 30, or 90% is going into these. The remaining 10 goes into community things like Midjourney and stuff, but the bulk of attention right now is in the models. And the jury is still out on what's going to win, but I think it's fascinating that all these models have already permeated our everyday life. A lot of you mentioned Notion, Fireflies, and all of those, and I think those are fantastic examples because these models earlier fascinated us with what they can create. That line for me for my slide, that picture for me for my slide, but now the latest versions, as some of you have seen, can also interpret. So hands up if you've been to New York sometime, New York City. Okay, those of you who got your hands up, I'm sure you're familiar with something like this. It's humanly impossible to figure out whether you can park your car in New York. I live in New Jersey, and I'm scared to take my car into New York for this reason. But now you can ask AI, take a photo and say, okay, is it okay for me to park my car at 4 p.m. on Wednesday? And it will tell you yes for 1 hour. If it got it wrong, it will not pay your fine, but it helps you, right? So this layer of interpreting data suddenly changes a lot of things. Because when you've got the creation and the interpretation together, you can do some magical things. You can augment, you can embed. And the example some of you folks put in there for Notion and Fireflies and all of that is a classic case of embedding. And we're already seeing that. On the left, you've got the writing software like Grammarly and others. On the right, you've got the image software like Canva and Firefly. In the middle, you've got the applications that we're so familiar with. And Microsoft already has Copilot for GitHub and its applications, and Google has Duet. Side thing, I think Google's getting it wrong in terms of their naming thing, Bard and Duet and a whole bunch of unpronounceable names, but Microsoft is taking it to the races with Copilot and stuff. But at the moment of creation, you're getting help that was unimaginable a year ago, and this is beautiful. But the real value, besides all of these, is going to be in a new ecosystem that we haven't seen yet, which is going to be in companies that unlock new behaviors. So if you look at the companies on the left side, those are companies that leverage the fact that this device knows exactly where I am at this point in time. right? So if you look at the companies that really won or leveraged the whole mobile ecosystem, it's folks like that who created and unlocked new behaviors because you could do new things that were unimaginable before. The companies on the right leverage stuff like the fact that this is ubiquitous, and any moment in time, you can take a selfie, thank you, and post it on Instagram. So the fact that your life and capturing your life is just an arm's length away is something that the second bucket captures. So apps that unlock new behaviors that would have been unthinkable before are the ones that are going to do some awesome things. Okay, quiz question. This is a picture taken in 2012. Right? Behaviors is actually a great segue for me to switch into telling you a little bit more about StreamAlive. So the anchor word here is behavior. These three gentlemen and their respective spouses met for a celebratory dinner in 2012 to celebrate 25 years since they launched version 1 of a product in 1987. They did it at a company called Forethought. My question to you is, what is that product? I'll give you hints. It was Apple's first VC investment. Apple formed a company called the Apple Strategic Investment Group, and they invested in this company. So what was Forethought's main product? 1987, they were celebrating in 2012. Spreadsheet, PowerPoint, 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 PDA, iPod. Okay? I'm not going to tell you if anyone got it right or wrong, because that would be cheating and would not. Those who got it right obviously Googled it on their phones, but anyway. Right. Wow, we got an amazing crowd over here, right? Or people are very fast at Googling, one of the two. But Pixar, all great, great, great guesses. It was indeed PowerPoint. Fun fact, Apple's first VC investment, $432,000 in 1987. End of the year, Microsoft acquires it for $14 million. So if you're looking at VC trivia, Apple made its first return on VC investment from Microsoft. But we digress. This was version 1. And those three gentlemen you saw in the picture are the names you see over there: Dennis Austin, Tom Raskin, and Bob Gaskins, who's considered the father of PowerPoint. 1987, 36 years. And we're still using PowerPoint. We used it multiple times today. We will use it tomorrow. We'll continue to use it. It's a great software, but I think it's time for a change. It's time to move from monologues to dialogues. And that's why we built StreamAlive. We are an AI-based audience engagement platform, as hopefully you experienced to some extent in this in-person scenario. We work with in-person, with online, and with hybrid situations. All of you in your book, thanks to the graciousness of Vishesh and the team at Speciale, have a copy of this book. It's called Name, Place, Animal, Thing. Have you played that game as a kid? Okay, cool, nice. So it's based on the metaphor of the game. I was previously a co-founder at a company called Unmetric. It got acquired in the end of 2019 for various reasons, professional and personal. We had a family emergency that required my time. I took a break in 2020 and used my newfound free time to write this book, which had been in my head for many years. It's a fable. Hopefully you'll read the book and tell me what you think of it. If it's not good, don't tell me what you think of it. Anyway, I binged on a bunch of classes on how to write, edit, and market a book, and these were 6 courses, online courses, delivered over 56 live streams, primarily, end of 2020, rewind back to that time, primarily on Zoom, a few on YouTube Live, and a couple on Facebook Live. Class sizes from 11 students to 1,200 students. And let me tell you what we saw, time and again, across 56 webinars. I call them borinars, because what really happened was the audience were not participants, they were mute spectators. And the presenters were talking like a monologue. And the question became, can the audience be engaged in such big crowds? I mean, when you have more than a dozen people in the room, is it even humanly possible to engage people at scale? Can you give a voice to the audience? Can you move from talk to talk and listen? Can we move from presentations to conversations like we've been having? Can we move people from mute spectators to active participants? And this is not new, by the way. This is not Bob Gaskins after a shave. This is my grandfather. He started what I believe is Chennai's first public speaking institute called Ramanathan's Public Speaking in 1979. And he had a golden rule. Every 5 minutes, ask your audience to raise their hand, one time their left hand, then their right hand, then stand up, and then sit down. Basically elicit a binary response. right? Make them move, keep them involved. I mean, he passed before the internet became a thing, before chat became a thing. And you don't need binary responses now because you've got chat, like you people have been conversing on your mobile devices. Guess what's common to Zoom, to YouTube, to Twitch, to Google Meet, to Microsoft Teams, to Kik, to Wine, and everything? They all have chat, active chat. And you can do magical things with chat. Like, for example, I could be asking you a question like the one I'm doing here, saying, okay, AI, we're talking about deep tech, we're talking about AI. What cities do you think AI is going to happen? Right? Which are the cities where it's going to blossom? Think it's working there? Yep. So some of you can just start typing, oh, beautiful. So you got India, you got Chennai, you got the West Coast, no surprises. And torture the product a bit. We also get some free testing without paying for it. Say things like, I think it might be SFO, or maybe China, or perhaps Chennai, or definitely not Gurgaon, or something like that, you know? So NLP layer, artificial intelligence, is reading your text, it's context aware, is looking for locations, does not care about anything that is not a geolocation, and mapping your responses over here. When audiences, like earlier this week, Ankur Variku had a session where he asked 9,000 people, hey, where are you joining from? As they typed answers and they were plotted, there's a sense of I'm heard, I'm acknowledged, I'm counted. And that changes the equation, as opposed to I'm totally ignored. So our pitch is move your audience from 95% ignored to 95% engaged, because 100% is a pipe dream. So all of these are what we call visual interactions that use chat. Right now, you're doing it through your phone, but you could be doing it through the Zoom chat, so no install, nothing required, or through the Teams chat, and that's our biggest proposition. Frictionless, don't install anything, just work off the chat. 4 parts to the platform, happy to take you through a demo after this. Plan, increase, track, and analyze. Plan is what you do before a session, where you compile these slides and interactions like the ones you've been seeing on my screen so far. And we also have GPT help there, because under the hood, I said I'm doing a session on generative AI, and what kind of questions should I be asking the audience? And confession time again, at least one of the interactions I asked you so far was suggested by an AI. Right? And this is an important thing in our scheme of things, because people have forgotten how to have a conversation. When we go to presenters, the number one onboarding challenge we have is teaching them what questions to ask. Because they're so used to talking, that when you say, listen, they say, what should I ask? What should I listen to? And that's a behavior change we want to impact, because we can't do it now. You can also do fun things, like since StreamAlive is tracking the chat, if you were to ask questions, it will automatically triage anything that smells like a question into a separate silo. If you were to share a link, and by the way, folks, entrepreneurs in the room, others, if you want to share your LinkedIn profile, your Twitter handle, your website, anything, feel free to put it in the chat. StreamAlive auto-compiles it into a document that we can share with everybody afterwards. Or I could say something fun like, I'm going to spin a wheel, and anyone who participated so far, so all your names are there, and I'm sure you can read it very, very clearly in the thing you see in the top right, is going to pick one name, and that person, okay, whoever decided to call themselves Lapis Orca, we'll trust you on it, but you get this t-shirt, okay, not this t-shirt, but another version of this t-shirt, right? So feel free to ping me afterwards and collect that. So just making it fun. I mean, who doesn't love a spinning wheel, right? And at the end of it, you have some fantastic analytics. Hit me up later, and I'll show you the analytics for this session in terms of how the engagement went up and down, what responses we got, and what worked and what didn't. And the idea is we think we can move from talking to listening, move presentations to conversations, and engagement kind of sorts itself out automatically. Why now? 6 reasons, very quickly. Generative AI allows us to help people onboard this new behavior in ways that was impossible before. Our client at Nike wants to know what to do on World Earth Day when they're doing an all hands for 600 people. They don't have to ask us. They just press a button and StreamAlive tells them that. Second, the opportunity. When my grandfather taught public speaking, it was only for in-person sessions. Today, sessions happen on all these platforms and more. There are standalone platforms like Zoom. There are others like TikTok and Kik. There is a whole entertainment layer. The second row, there's a whole serious business layer. The first row that are used by classes, by companies, by creators. Microsoft owns 2 of those companies. Google owns 2 of those companies, and Facebook owns 3. People are still in person. I was at Zoomtopia 1.5 months back. Priya, we got up there. And at that time, the biggest theme happening was about hybrid. How do we enable hybrid? The world is going to be hybrid. If you monitor real estate prices in commercial realm, you'll see that it is definitely going to be hybrid. But from all those platforms, there's so much of fragmentation, there's hybridization. And lastly, the last 2 points, I mean, if you look at PowerPoint, I told you, look at that number, 1987, 36 years. That's how long we've been stagnant in presentation technology. I think it's time for a change because there is a goldfishization of our attention spans, which is actually wrong to say, because the average goldfish is pretty intelligent, by the way, and it has an attention span of 9 seconds. In the last 3 years, we are now at 8 seconds. So it's humanization of attention spans. We're worse than goldfish, so sorry. Yeah. But with that, you need to captivate and engage people a lot more, and that's important. Why Speciale? It's actually quite simple. It's all about people. This is 11 of 15 people currently in the StreamAlive team. Extreme right is Tina, who's a co-founder. 2 places to her right is Joe, who's also co-founder. Tina, me, and Joe were classmates at IIM Calcutta. Joe and I were being ragged together because we both have Mallu genes in IIT Madras when ragging was not a penalty or a crime. So we know each other for decades. We've been on other journeys together. We've come back for this one. We've come full circle. At least one of the people in that team is someone who worked with us at Unmetric. 4 of the other people are also people who worked with us in our last company, Unmetric. There's a certain circularity in things, right? Because it's all about people. This, by the way, is our team in Shillong. Separate story. I'm happy to tell you over a drink as to why we built our team in Shillong and why it's awesome for us. So this is not an away thing. We can't afford it at our current level of funding. This is where our team lives, right? But it's all about people. So when we first came up with the idea for StreamAlive, I remember going to Vishesh because I met Vishesh in our previous journey at Unmetric. He passed on investing in us at that time, but we kept the conversation going. We had a lot of conversations. We talked. He'd sometimes talk about a portfolio company. I'd talk about what I'm working on. And I actually told him about StreamAlive, not for investment, because I made the assumption, foolish in retrospect, that Vishesh and Speciale only invest in companies that have products that fly out or go into the body. Right? And we didn't do either of those things. He corrected me, and when I asked him and I said, help me out with the pitch and stuff, he said, we'd love to invest. He became our lead. And there's something magical that happens when that first person gives you the vote of confidence. You become a lot more confident to get that second and third and fourth, and we got a lot of those people. Today it was great to see some folks here who are LPs in Speciale, and we're happy to know that Speciale had invested in StreamAlive. Met Priya through the journey who invested in StreamAlive as well, but met a lot of people, and it's fundamentally all about people. So that's why when Vishesh, and then we met Arjun, and you could see that the DNA percolates through in the team, and DR and everybody else in the team, and I think that's important, that's special. Not every firm has it, they have it, and at this stage in life, you want to work with people you can trip with. That's important. Right? In fact, even our users, we are still early to the game. We have users, we have a couple of 1,000 users. We don't consider them users, we consider them people. Whether just going clockwise from the top right, it's Ankur Variku doing a live stream on YouTube and selling his book, Make Epic Money, and engaging with 9,000 people live. This was on Sunday, by the way. Or the photo below that, which is Eric Wan, CEO of Zoom, wearing a board that says exactly what it says on my t-shirt, because we said, Eric, we share the same philosophy, you should be carrying our board, and he did, with me and my co-founder. Or Ross Mayfield, who's doing a class in Stanford, teaching them about embedded AI instances and using StreamAlive as an example. Anand Deshpande, founder of Persistent, doing a course and using StreamAlive to engage students in that course. The California State Rangers, taking the state parks in engaging sessions to middle schoolers who can't afford to come to the state parks. The Thai Global Summit and many other summits. AirRack, a protege of Mr. Beast, running YouTube's first interactive game show where creators are punished based on audience comments. And the last one captures this whole circularity of it being about people. That's Manish Agarwal, ex-KPMG, ex-PricewaterhouseCoopers, currently a visiting faculty at IIM Indore and IIM Calcutta, also a dear friend, classmate, and StreamAlive investor, who said it's transformed his classes where he teaches at IIM Calcutta, which is where we all met in the first place as founders many decades ago. It's all about people. Thank you, kind people.